Well, White Lies, Harry, Charles, Jack.
Hello.
Yeah, new album is coming up, but if you're looking back on your previous album, what kind of band do you see then?
On our previous album,
compared to where you're now at this moment?
I think I probably see a cross section of the bands we were listening to at the time we made our first record. There's lots of things in there, really. Bit of Secret Machines, bit of Tears for Fears we listened to quite a lot to. Talking Heads we listened to a lot to. Yeah.
And is it much different compared to the new upcoming album, where you're now at this point of in your musical career?
I would say the second album is a natural evolution and progression from the first. So it has its differences, but it's I think just an improvement, an ambitious improvement on the first.
How do you try to challenge yourself as a band or as musicians, do you think?
I think we were very keen on this album to, after spending a long time listening to a lot of new music, some of it we obviously fell in love with, some we were not sure about. It was important for us to establish what our comfort zone was in terms of what we listened to and how we could use that to inspire us to write new songs and really break out of that area where we felt totally calm and totally like we understood what we were doing. And there was a lot of moments on the album when we were writing where we felt very unsure of what we were doing, but in the most creative and sort of inspiring way possible. It's the last thing you want to be doing when you're even playing on stage is to feel like you're in autopilot mode. So by introducing ourselves to new music, things like Nine Inch Nails, that we were led to listen to because we worked with Alan Moulder, and that was one of the bands that he's been made very famous for, but a band that we haven't listened to until then. Harry and I were certainly listening to a lot of that and thinking, you know, how can we take some inspiration from this and use it in our work, and ended up getting quite involved and deep into sampling lots of percussion and making quite industrial sounding rhythm tracks and backing tracks to songs like Turn the Bells, especially, in Holy Ghost as well. So I think what we were doing is we were looking at everything that we had accomplished on the first record and forgetting it and trying to set ourselves a new set of goals, a new set of ideas that we were definitely not confident that we could fulfill and achieve. And it was that risk and element of uncertainty that makes an exciting sounding record. Otherwise, we could have made a record that sounded the same as the first one, I think, quite easily. But we didn't.
Is it possible to forget what you've done for so far?
It is when you tour for 2 years, definitely. I mean, the first day that we went to start writing, I definitely felt very unsure about how to write a song again in some ways. I didn't really know, I couldn't remember how we'd done it the first time. I just sort of heard the finished versions and I thought, well, we must have started here or there. And so we just learned again. I mean, on the first record we started with sort of a chord, with chords and a very rough melody. And this time we started with quite elaborate orchestrated parts and trumpet parts and string parts, and then strange drum loops and things like that. So we worked in a very just a very different way this time.
Isn't it sometimes maybe a little bit dangerous to pull too many things like new orchestrated pieces into music?
I think
in the safety of your own living room, it's okay.
I think songs. I mean, a song you can strip down to chords and a melody line. You can take everything else away from it and start again. But it's a good way of writing interesting music if you try and challenge yourself and write something really strange around a vocal melody, or do something strange in a rhythm, or anything like that. And so quite often, actually, on the record, we took away a lot of what we did originally and started afresh with just the chords and the melody line. But because of the way we wrote it, we wrote a song that was perhaps slightly unusual and different, and that would be its appeal.
How important is it in music to do something new, do you think?
I think there needs to be. I think all music should be a fine balance between reminding you of something you really love and giving it a new twist and a new emotion or a new feel. obviously all musicians, and it's impossible to say otherwise, are affected and influenced by the music and the things they listen to and experience. And so you're basically going to be a sum of your influences and a sum of what you listen to the most and what you admire the most. Whether you try to or not, subconsciously that's going to be what happens. And so it's just balancing those things and trying to stimulate yourself as much as possible, I think, that makes a good band and a good song.